Friend of Sarah Ferguson has revealed that she's on the cusp of a nervous breakdown as her daughters are being dragged into the scandal over her association with Jeffrey Epstein.
Sarah Ferguson is deeply shaken, and what worries her most reveals where her true focus lies. The former Duchess of York is going through a mental strain after being forced to leave Royal Lodge and losing her royal titles. Yet her main worry isn't herself. She's most anxious about how the ongoing scandal could affect Princesses Beatrice and Eugenie. Royal commentator Helena Chard explains that Sarah fears more public embarrassment and is concerned that the serious accusations could harm her daughter's reputation. At the same time, her bond with Andrew has broken down to the extent that they now sleep at opposite ends of Royal Lodge, even though they technically still live together. Subscribe now, because what's happening privately between Sarah and Andrew hints that their decades-long setup might be ending for good. Let's review the latest reports on Sarah's situation. Helena Chard, a royal reporter and photographer, described her condition plainly. Her nerves are frayed, and she's deeply rattled by the loss of her royal safety net. That phrase is important. Royal safety net. Even after years of living without formal royal rank, Sarah still relied on being close to the institution for security.
Especially when it comes to Fergie, we're hearing reports that she's taking it hard. I think that her identity was tied up in being Duchess of York. She had that title since her wedding day, and the loss of it allegedly was just devastated her. She supposedly has been relying heavily on the staff at Royal Lodge.
The announcement on October 30 stripped both Sarah and Andrew of their remaining titles. King Charles faced growing pressure over Andrew's well-documented links to Jeffrey Epstein. But what's hitting Sarah the hardest is this. Royal expert Hilary Ford told Fox News that Sarah has made it clear to staff she no longer trusts Andrew. She's ready to go her own way after years of loyalty and public defense. For a long time, Sarah and Andrew were Britain's most unusual divorced couple. They've shared Royal Lodge since 2008 and appeared together at family events. Sarah defended Andrew publicly through scandal after scandal. That pattern is now shifting quickly.
How would you describe Prince Andrew and Fergie's relationship? It's quite unusual that they live together despite divorcing decades ago.
Yes, I mean, people are surprised by the relationship. They describe themselves as the happiest divorced couple in the world.
Fordwich shared details about how they're living now. Although both Sarah and Andrew remain at Windsor, they sleep on opposite ends of the vast Royal Lodge. With 30 rooms, they can largely avoid one another. They still meet occasionally, mostly to discuss their uncertain futures, but these talks are about logistics, not emotional support. Their relationship has shifted from partnership to crisis management. Fordwich emphasized the most significant change. While their connection was unusually close for divorced exes, cohabiting and backing each other through public scandals, there's now a real fracture. A real fracture that signals something deeper than temporary tension. This may represent a permanent split, rather than just another rough patch.
Everyone knew about it, and nothing was said. And I'm amazed the secrets have remained, as long as they have. Of course, people are now coming out of the woodwork, telling all sorts of stories. And I think a lot of the people who talk to me, the senior naval officers, for example, because they were exasperated by the way he'd been protected and felt this story needed to come out.
Sarah's worries go beyond Andrew. Chard notes that her main concern revolves around her daughters. She fears further humiliation and is worried that serious allegations could hurt her girls' reputations. Beatrice and Eugenie, however, are handling this much differently than their parents. Chard points out that both princesses have kept a careful distance from their parents' scandals. This strategy has helped them maintain positive public images despite repeated controversies. Preserving that separation is becoming more crucial as the accusations against Andrew continue unresolved. Sarah's concern for their standing shows she understands the risks of association. Her known connections to Jeffrey Epstein, including the Supreme Friend email, complicate her daughter's public roles.
The Duchess of York sent Jeffrey Epstein a grovelling apology email praising him as, quote, a supreme friend after his release from jail.
The practical consequences are still unfolding. Andrew will relocate to a property on the King's Sandringham estate in the coming year. Sarah's own future remains unclear. Portugal has been mentioned as an option, with Princess Eugenie preparing a place for her, but other reports suggest she may stay in Britain at Princess Beatrice's Cotswolds home. Royal biographer Robert Jobson told Hello Magazine's podcast that Sarah isn't doing well. He added, "I've known her for years, and I'm not saying she hasn't made mistakes, but should she face the same consequences as Andrew? I don't necessarily think so." This raises questions about proportional accountability. Sarah's actions differ from Andrew's allegations, yet the response has treated them as a unit. From her perspective, the fallout feels largely linked to Andrew's behavior. This could explain why Ford says Sarah no longer trusts Andrew. Another factor is the timing of her current mental state alongside potential tell-all interviews. Reports say U.S. broadcasters have offered six-figure sums for Sarah to speak out. The palace would see this as risky. Sarah has historically been candid and emotional in communication. Without a title, she has fewer restrictions on what she could reveal. Andrew's 2019 Newsnight interview offers a cautionary lesson, but Sarah may view a tell-all as an opportunity to separate her story from his and explain her side. Where she lives carries symbolic weight. Portugal would be a fresh start, physically distant from Britain and ongoing scrutiny. Staying in Britain keeps her close to unfolding stories. Financially, Sarah has faced challenges her whole adult life. Without Royal Lodge and its indirect benefits, she must consider sustaining her lifestyle. The reported interview deals could provide income, but also create new complications. The relationship with Andrew has always been unusual. Most divorced couples don't live together for decades. The arrangement worked while benefits outweighed costs, but as costs rose, particularly for Sarah, the foundation cracked. Their sleeping at opposite ends of Royal Lodge while still cohabiting perfectly illustrates the current state, physically present, but emotionally distant. Whether this split is temporary or permanent depends on upcoming developments. Andrew's move to Sandringham could make separation final, potentially ending the relationship as it was. So here's the situation. Sarah Ferguson is mentally shaken, her relationship with Andrew has worsened, and her main focus is protecting her daughters. Her living arrangements are unsettled, and she's weighing interview opportunities. Andrew has a clear plan with Sandringham. Sarah is evaluating multiple paths. Key questions remain. Will she move abroad or stay in Britain? Will she accept interviews despite family risks? How will the relationship change once they no longer share a home? Can Beatrice and Eugenie preserve their reputation amid scrutiny? Comment with your thoughts, subscribe and turn on notifications, as the family's dynamics will impact multiple generations. To understand the financial pressures shaping Sarah's choices, look at documented spending patterns that fueled decades of dependency. Click the video on screen.